Hello everyone! Welcome to Gwent the Witcher card game, one of my favorite games of all time. Recently, this game has undergone a new change in direction. The company that makes it, CDPR, has stated that they are going to change the game every month in order to keep the meta fresh. They're going to patch the game, they're going to change it, they're going to make what's good, what's bad, different a little bit every month. I was ranked 350 last month, and let's see how high I can get up this month. But before that, I'm going to show off what makes this game special. So I'm going to play every deck that I played last month, which have probably been rebalanced. Some of them might actually be impossible to play now because they've been adjusted for card inflation, all that. And I'll try and show what makes this card game special. So the first deck I'm going to show off, and the one that did best last season, is my Shoop deck. I was looking very hard for a Shoop deck to come out, and I came up with an idea of making a Shoop-related deck in Emir, so that way he could cast it twice. I was trying with Phil Evandrel at first, and I even tried pretty much every Scoia'tael leader, because in the old version of Gwent, Scoia'tael was the one to go to. But I saw that there was a joke Shoop deck coming out, and I thought that there was potential if you use some of the stronger neutral cards in order to supplement it. For example, we use Unicorn and Chironix, which are boost by double if you have that in the hand. If I don't draw Shoop, because Shoop decks are notorious for not being that good at drawing, they're under the prey of drawing variants. So I decided to have something that I could draw and redraw as well, just in case, which is also why Serret and Ox are in this deck. However, Serret and Ox are good for fighting decks like this one, just in case. I actually don't have a very good card to play right now, except for the Witchers, which I'd like to get out of the deck as fast as possible. So this is quite good. This is an okay opener. I'm going to wait to put this down as soon as possible. I would like to kill those. So January Gwent is in the deck because of cards like this. January Gwent can kill an enemy, kill 3 copies of it. Now I have time to wait until these get up to 3/3s in order to use January Gwent on them. Hopefully he'll play a second thing of Neckers, that would be best, and then I could just kill them as soon as he plays the second. So I'm going to wait for that. Realistically, the opponent's probably smarter than that, and I have nothing that doesn't kill it. And my opponent's getting angry that I'm taking so long, but that's okay. Instead, what do I want to do? I think instead I actually am going to kill one now. That way I don't have to waste January Gwent for later. And I can always just demuritum shekels them. That said, I might just let it go, because it's just one. Ouch, what a jerk. That one I might shekels, actually. Because I don't really want him to exist. What's a good thing to do? Because he can play out this for quite a while. And now if he puts a big thing out, I want to Shackles and then Van Hammer. Yes, I am using Van Hammer. I know he's a bad card, but I needed a really cheap way of killing big creatures. I'll actually try and make a separate video about what I think makes a good deck, at least in the previous meta. I haven't looked at this game in a while, so it's possible I'm making some poor meta choices. That said, what do I want to do here? I guess I want to use Serret and kill him, because I'm still willing to use Dimitrium Shackles. It just means I'll have to wait for Van Hammer for later. Neckers are much stronger in this game than you would think. They gain strength depending upon everyone else, much like everyone to Thrive. Since his deck has a leader that unit that boosts it by 8, it's possible that his deck is smarter than the big monsters. Big monsters are really popular at the lower ranks. At the higher ranks, they're still decently popular. But they're more. But I've noticed that woodland spirits are much more concerned with immune creatures, or making things bigger that you can't interact with. So that way you can't have things like Geralt the Rivia, which kills an 8 strength or higher creature, because your characters are immune to being targeted. With that in mind, what am I going to play now? I could play a big-ass creature. That'll summon his big-ass creature, and then I can lock it. So then I won't feel bad about locking it. So he has these 2 out, and that's really annoying for me, because I want to murder them. I guess I'm gonna play this. That feels awful, though. Yep, okay. Come at me, bro. Got your dude. So that right there was what we call a bullshit risky maneuver. Don't do that. It's a bad idea. I actually thought, so the reason why I chose to do that was I was going to, if he got his biggest unit, I was going to shackles it and then kill it with Van Himmer. Now that that's not a thing, I'm going to kill one of these two units because I know he's just going to keep making his units more powerful. With that in mind, I'm going to use this here, and I'll save Van Himmer for later. I have a couple locks in my deck that I can use. I obviously won't have them this round, so I'm not going to go down to one card this round, and I'll save him for another round. This is late enough that I think I'm going to use this on Roach, and I'll consider passing next turn. And, okay, so that was probably, I'm going to guess that was a 9 strength card, so that was probably sleeping Old Spear Tip? Yep, Old Spear Tip asleep. So this is just a standard big boys deck, which is a good thing that I have Van Himmer and a good thing I have Shoop Stay Off. Both of those can kill a big creature. I'll probably go Hunter in order to either deal 9 damage or kill a creature. I might go to, if I'm really desperate, I might go to Mage in order to steal one of his units. Oh, this is annoying. The question is, does he have a method of countering... Do I want to play on, is the big question. Or do I want to cancel out here? He can definitely take it if he has a big creature in his deck, which he should, because I summoned his strongest creature and it summoned this. If he has Old Spear Tip in his hand, then that shouldn't happen. I'm going to throw this out, because it forces him to react and throw out a tiny unit. I don't really want to play on, so I don't really know why I did that. That was, I think, the biggest misplay I've made so far. Thinking about it, I probably should have passed there. Unless he's only big creatures in his hand, which I was not predicting. So if it turns out that... Oh, hey! It turns out that he had nothing but big creatures in his hand, and I just won for bullshit reasons, because I didn't predict that. But yeah, he was throwing out a lot of lower cards, so that makes some sense. So now, let's see what I can get. Nausicaa Sergeant, big boys. Okay, I have 4 left. I'm just gonna pass it. I'm gonna use all 4 of those draws in the next round. So something that they're going to bring to future Gwent matches is they're going to bring back the older system where you can redraw 3 cards per round to make decks more consistent. Something that was always true in Gwent that was not true in other card games is this game was much more about reading what your opponent was doing and figuring out how to beat that. So it was a game of win condition versus win condition. For example, this deck would be, win condition would be using Shoop twice, which is essentially a 24-point play. So a big play at the end. Since I'm going second, it is at the end. Ooh, this is a pretty bad hand. Hang on. I don't think he's using artifacts. If I am wrong, I'm going to feel like a fool, but I'm going to throw this away now. Interesting. Okay, I'm going to throw a U. There we go, Ox. So now I have a method of killing a big creature. I want to use Shoop early if possible, because that way I can... Ooh, if he throws back a card, I can put this. That way I can boost everything in my hand if that's necessary. Do I want to throw back Nausicaa? No, Nausicaa's a good first play. I'm pretty happy with that. Should have looked... the only other card that I really would have liked is either Alba Armored Cavalry or Lacerate. I might as well Gimpy Gerwin this. No, I have time. I have time. One of you play a unit with deploy. Charge! I really like this line for Nausicaa Sergeant. Props to whoever did the voice design on this card. So he has a bunch of Thrive cards, same strategies before. He's just sort of doing his thing. I unfortunately am in a pickle because I really want to use this on a big card. I am going second, so I'll be able to use it on a big card. But that is no excuse. What do I want to do now? Now's a good time to build up my bigger cards. So let's do this. This will make this stronger. Get him out. This deck is just going to be huge. I want him to play at least 9 strength worth of creatures out before I use Shoop. Ideally, I want to do it almost exactly after he uses 9 strength worth of creatures. Because if he does, then I will be able to kill all of them, potentially. This is 10 strength. One of them is going to survive. If I had to choose, I would like it to be the Archospore. This is if I get the 9 strength. If I don't get the 9 strength, then I'll just feel silly. Apply random enemy effect, destroy a random enemy, split 9 damage. Damn. Okay. Well, that works for me. Ooh, and it hit the right target, too, because I was going to bring him back to my hand. And now I have to choose what to play. I think I'm going to play this Spotter. Hopefully it gets a big card. Mediocre. So that'll power up my Nausicaa Sergeant. I'm now 17 points ahead. There's no single card in his deck that can really screw me. Ah. Actually, I should have thought of that. So, the Imperial Enforcers, if I had played that instead of him, he probably would have locked that instead, because it would have killed his unit. But by not playing that, I'm actually in a somewhat awkward position. So I'll play it now. If he plays a stronger creature next turn, I can always play Shoop. And then Shoop will deal another 9 damage, and then I can finish off the Necker with my Enforcers. I really don't like having creatures with Thrive when fighting a big deck, because practically everything that the opponent plays is going to make them stronger. As you can see. Alright. So, what are the strongest things in his deck? Oh, he just used the 9 strength card. So he needs to discard some of his stronger cards in order to actually activate his ghouls. So if he has another ghoul in his hand, then this is an awkward position for him. But I'm going to send out Shoop. Please kill it. Okay. Now, the question is, do I want to save this? My opponent's probably going to use his +8 bonus on a creature like Werewolf that I can't target. In one of the last rounds. So with that in mind, I'm going to shoot him. Oh, ideally when possible, you always want to use Chironex instead of Unicorn, because there are so many cards that target huge creatures, and there are very few that and there are none that target like between 4 and 6 for the most part. So Chironex is usually better because it leaves your board a little safer, and it kills something on the opponent's side of the field. Now he's played an interesting card here, because every turn you move to the row with the highest unit on the battlefield, and that is the opponent. That is on the player's turn, as opposed to mine. So if I made like someone super, if I used this and made one of my units super strong, it'd have to wait until after his turn happens. So he's kind of tempting me in order to take that card. I don't actually see a good way to not do that, so... awkward. I'm going to use Gimpy Gerwin, which didn't get much use in this round, even though this is totally the matchup where he would get use, and like one of the matches why I use him. I'm going to lower him to 7. Now, when I use Unicorn, it'll be easier to take him. There's a Goliath. I think he expects me to kill that Goliath. It'd be really awkward if I have to use these two just to kill a 7 strength, but I'm okay with that. As I said, I'd like to use Chironex now. Keep in mind, he is going to have up to 21 worth of strength hitting the board in the last turn. So it looks like I'm ahead by about 7 points, right? Yep. Okay, there's the old spear tip. Cool. So I can get a unit up to strength 9. The question is, what does he have left in his hand? I'm going to assume that everything that he has left in his hand, I cannot interact with. So this is probably the best target to use an Ox on. He might have something in his hand that says something like, unlock a card. Okay, works for me. Destroy a locked unit. I just lost the game. I say as I won the game. Sorry, I was just thinking about what would happen if he had a ghoul and I had last play. So I said I just lost the game because if he had a single ghoul left in his hand, he could have been baiting me into killing his old spear tip and then using the ghoul in order to get a 14th strength creature on the board. Whereas I got lucky. He didn't have a ghoul in his hand. I really should have used the unicorn first. I probably should have used the unicorn before playing the Chironix in this specific case. I'm just so used to playing Chironix because it's usually not safe. Big boys deck like this one are just so good at getting a dominant creature onto the field that I forgot that they don't really have any method of controlling or like killing something. Actually, usually big boys do have a Geralt or something in order to kill something huge on your opponent's side of the field. That actually might have been his final card, so it's possible that I actually dodged the bullet by playing this way. But in any case, I would say that there were two really good decisions I made that were made purely out of luck that won this game. But you get to see the basic gist on how the deck works. It's full of cards that I can pull back just in case in order to reduce the variance and make a good Shoop deck. Shoop is my favorite card because it is, in fact, an Ogre Knight. And I've been wanting to make a good deck around it ever since, and I'm so happy that this version of Gwent allows me to do so with Amiris of all people, who is one of my favorite characters in all of the Witcher lore, because he is an evil emperor who is just trying to be a bro. I'll talk about how the ranking works. So, you are only judged by your season high, so it judges you based on your streaks more than your win-losses for each faction. It says 72 points right now because it requires you to play 40 games in order to get all your points. So if you don't want to get kicked out of Grandmaster, one of the best things you can do is, like, at the last day, just go into a match and quit. It'll make someone else a lot happier, and it'll get you the maximum amount of MMR points you can. You are judged based on your best 4 out of 5 races, which is really useful for me because I still don't get monsters. Despite the fact that I just played them and called them big boys, I don't play a deck that I feel comfortable playing in any of the monster factions. So yeah, that is how Gwent works. I could tell you a bunch of other fun things about the game and go into a greater dissection. I'll show off the Skellige deck I play next time. Bye everyone!